Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared and we're about to play Kanban. Let's take a look. I'll show you how. As I go over everything, feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. For your convenience, I've added timestamps in the description to the different sections of the tutorial. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below the video so you don't miss any of my latest content. Kanban Driver's Edition from Vidal Lacerda is a heavy Euro game where players are new employees in a car manufacturing factory. You'll need to use your work shifts efficiently to impress the factory manager who also walks the floor. Players will manage supply, improve on designs, minimize waste, and produce automobiles, all while trying to complete factory goals and run the factory more efficiently than your opponents. You'll be measured in productivity points. The factory manager Sandra will interact in the game with you in different ways. At the beginning, you'll need to decide to use the nice manager rules or the harsh manager rules. While I teach the rules, I'll be using the nice manager rules and summarize the harsh manager differences near the end. The Kanban board is double-sided, but are functionally the same. One side has some extra color coding to more easily see the separations of the factory areas. Lay that side face up for potentially an easier time learning the game. I'll teach this as if for a 4-player game, but note the differences for 2 or 3 players. For example, if playing a 3-player game, cover the test track on the board with the tile showing 3 cars. In a 2-player game, use the test track tile with 2 cars shown on it. Now place the large white cube over the car's image and a white disc on 0 here. Then place the white pace car on one of the finish line spaces. Shuffle the factory goal tiles and place one face up in these 6 spaces. The lower numbered tile of each pair should be in the leftmost space. 2 blue goal tiles here, 2 green here, and 2 yellow down here. Now add 2 red seat tokens on each tile. In a 3-player game, only place 1 seat on the rightmost tiles. And in a 2-player game, put only 1 seat on both in each pair. Create 2 stacks on the board here, 1 for book tiles and 1 for parts tiles. Randomly pick 3 of the 6 car part cube colors to start in the recycling area of the board. Each of these spaces may only hold 1 cube at a time, and the whole department will not have more than 3 available at any time. Place 1 cube of each color to the left of the first space in the design tracks. These will keep track of the value of each type of car upgrade during the game. Shuffle the 5 demand tiles and place 1 face up in these 2 spaces. Then place the number of red seats indicated on the 2 tiles. The extra tiles should form a face-down stack near the board. In the assembly lines, put 2 cars out of each color. The first sits in the top row and the second underneath. The remaining cars should sit off the board where all players can see them. The supply of the cars is limited. Shuffle the award plaque tokens and place 3 face down in a stack at the top of each training track found in each factory area. If playing a 2 or 3 player game, you'll only place 2 plaques face down instead of 3. Now each stack will get 1 red seat token on top. Leave a supply pile near the board for the extra red seats. Each player should choose a color to be. There's yellow, blue, purple, and orange. Take the matching player board for your color and place it in front of you. These are 2-sided, offering a standard side and an experienced side for a more challenging game. Use the standard side for your first couple games, which has bonuses shown in each of the garage spaces. You'll have a large and small meeple in your color, plus 7 round discs. Shuffle the performance goal cards and the Kanban order card decks. Deal 3 performance goals and 2 Kanban orders to each player. Give each player 1 parts voucher tile to place on their player board. Each player will also have 5 seat tokens in their color. These should be placed around the conference table in the administration department. There are spaces around the table indicated for each color seat. Place them face down in these positions, with only 1 face up. The seats with a certificate symbol on the back should get a lock token placed on them. Give each player 4 more lock tokens to go on their player boards. Place them on the 4 spots on the board showing the unlocked symbol. Each player can put their mini meeple to the left of the 0 space of the certification track. Now everyone should place one of their color discs on the 0 space of the shift bank track. There are 5 main departments found on the game board, each having their own training track. Everyone should place one of their discs at the bottom of each training track on the board. Since we're setting up the nice manager mode, everyone places one more disc on the 0 space of the productivity points track. If playing the harsh manager, players instead will start at 15. In the logistics department, you'll need to populate the starting car parts available. Reveal one Kanban order card from the deck and place all the parts shown. For each square on the card, place a matching color cube in the section for them. Then put the card on the bottom of the deck. Shuffle the square card design tiles. Randomly place 8 face up in the rightmost spaces of the design department. Shuffle the remaining tiles to create 3 decks with 9 tiles each. Place these stacks in the 3 leftmost spaces in the department. Draw 4 face-up performance goal cards to sit on the conference table. Keep the face-down deck near the board. Shuffle and place a random final goal tile in the space for it in the administration department. Return the rest to the game box. Place the pink round marker on the 0 space of the weak track and the pink meeple in the empty circle at the bottom. Randomly determine a start player. Starting with them and going clockwise, everyone chooses a space on the certification track to place their mini meeple. By choosing a space with an icon showing, you'll immediately gain the benefit. Additionally, turn order is determined by this track going from right to left. The clock image is a banked shift, so move your disc forward on the shift bank track to gain it. The other 2 are blue tokens you collect, which will sit on your player board on the printed spaces for them. Now, in the new turn order, each player chooses an available car part cube from the logistics department and 1 design tile from the design department. You may choose any face-up tile, including from the top of any of the 3 stacks. Don't gain any other benefits. Once everyone's taken one, slide remaining tiles down to the right to fill in gaps. Draw tiles from the stacks to the left of the rows to fill in more spaces. The car parts are not replenished. The car part cubes will sit on your player board in these empty spaces. You can hold up to 5 until you unlock the 6th space. The design tiles will sit at the bottom of your board and fill the empty spaces there. You can hold 4 at a time until you unlock the 5th space. After these initial choices, you're ready to start playing. The game plays over a series of rounds which each represent a single workday. 2 phases happen each day, the department selection phase followed by the working phase. For the first phase of the game, players will select which department they will go to in order of the certification track, from right to left. After that, department selection is from left to right in the workstation alley. All 5 departments have 2 workstations available to it, found in Workstation Alley. The bold white lines separate the different departments and surround the workstations that correspond to its area. Only 1 meeple can occupy a single workstation. Additionally, you must use a different department each day. After the first round, Sandra also moves in the Workstation Alley. She'll go to the furthest left available workstation. In the following rounds, she'll move to the next available department to the right, occupying the leftmost workstation. If she moves back to the administration department, she'll occupy her own desk. In a 2-player game, Sandra can move to your department, but players may not move to hers. After all players and Sandra have moved to new positions, everyone does tasks in the order of the Workstation Alley. Moving from left to right, players will have a turn to spin shifts to do actions in the department. So players would get turns in their department, starting with the testing and innovation department, then the assembly line, then logistics, then design, and finally administration. The clock icons tell you how many shifts you'll get by working there. Think of the clock as divided into quarters. So this one is 1 shift, and this one is 3 shifts. You'll get more actions by selecting the one further to the right in the Workstation Alley, but you may be taking your action second to another player in the same department. Players may additionally spend banked shifts by moving their disc down the shift bank track. You may not work more than 4 shifts in a day, however. When you've completed your turn, lay down your meeple where it sits. In the next department selection phase, you'll easily see who hasn't moved to a new position yet. Whenever the turn goes to Sandra, she'll assess the department she's in. She won't do anything on the first round of the game. I'll cover how her assessments work later, but for now, you should know that she will advance the pace car when in the testing and innovation department, and in administration will advance the weak marker. There are other ways the pace car advances, but each time it lands on a checkered space, you'll advance the production cycle marker. Whenever this marker or the weak marker is on at least the third space and the other marker at the second, you'll trigger the end of the game. Finish the current day and any other meetings or end-of-week scoring that may happen. Then proceed to final scoring to tally up the winner. During your turn, you may freely engage with the recycling area of the board. Exchange one car part from your player board with an available one in recycling. Only one part for each car part type can be in each space. Only 3 parts are allowed in recycling at the same time. This is a free action and you can recycle as much as you want and as much as you can during your turn. Sometimes you earn extra shifts, books, or parts vouchers by the actions you take in your turn. These are represented as blue tokens. However, any of these earned during your turn are not usable the turn you gain them, so keep the tokens nearby, but don't use these until the next day. The banked shift tokens you collect are to remind you to earn shifts on the track by moving your disc to the right. Turn in these tokens at the end of your turn. The books and part vouchers will be added to your player board at the end of your turn. The factory goal tiles you set up at the beginning of the game can be earned by anyone who achieved what is depicted. On your turn, if you meet a goal, you can take 1 seat off the tile and add it to your player board. Achieving and claiming these seats is a free action on your turn. Lastly, having seats at the conference table lets you claim goals during meetings. The more seats you have, the more points you could earn. Whenever you gain a red seat token, you should check to see if you have any of your color seats face down that could be flipped up. The only seat you can't flip over right now is the locked one. If you can, you must spend the red seat tokens to flip them up. Any unused seat tokens, part vouchers, and books at the end of the game will be worth 1 point each. Your seats at the conference table that you didn't use would also be worth 1 point each. Each department has its own training track that players may move up on. Moving up the next seat on the track costs 1 work shift each. When moving to a space with other players' discs, place yours on top. Being on top is considered ahead of those below. As soon as you get to the 3rd training stage, you're considered certified in the department. Firstly, you will unlock one of your lock tokens referenced by the department. There's one unlocked by each department. Next, move your mini meeple to the next section to the right on the certification track. You may choose where to place it and gain the shown bonus. During meetings, players get to score in order of the position of their mini meeple on the certification track, always done from right to left. Each department gives you a unique benefit for being certified. I'll cover those benefits later when I go over each department. While in its department, you may spend collected books from your player board to move up on the department's training track without having to spend work shifts. Thematically, using the books represents you doing some studying in your free time, so you're more educated on the subject when you get to work. Books can be spent anytime during your turn to move up on the training track of the department your large meeple's sitting in. You may train up to the final red seat of the training track, representing becoming an expert on the subject. The first person to reach the final space will immediately gain the red seat token sitting on top of the award plaques. And you may look at all the plaques in the stack, choose one to gain immediately, and return the rest back to the stack. There are 4 possible bonuses shown on these plaques: banking 1 shift in the shift bank, gaining 2 points, gaining a book, and gaining a parts voucher. After taking the benefit, discard the plaque token. The last player to place their disc on the space won't gain an award plaque, but will earn the most points at the end of the game for being the furthest along the track. At the end, the player furthest on the track and on top of the other player's discs will earn 5 points. The second player 3 points, and the third player 1 point. Each department's training track will be scored at the end. However, if you haven't progressed on the training track at all, you won't score any points. When Sandra evaluates a department, players furthest on the track or least progressed on the track will gain a reward or penalty. This will depend on if you play with the nice manager or the harsh manager. I'll go more into that later. There are 5 departments in the car factory where you can go. This area is the design department where you can gain designs for different types of cars. The main action is to pick up a face-up design tile from the display. It costs 1 work shift to take one. You may not take tiles from the stacks of tiles unless you are certified in this department. The design tiles can be used to claim the shown car from the testing and innovation department. If you have a design with an upgrade shown in its corner, it could be used instead to upgrade the design of that car. You must have an empty space on your player board to take and keep a design tile. The tiles on your board must be used to be removed. You can't discard or replace them. After you're done with your turn, slide all the designs down to the right and refill the empty spaces from the top of the stacks. Once the nearest stack is depleted, draw them from the central deck to the far left. If you take one of the 4 tiles furthest right in the display, you gain the bonus shown next to it. This one earns you a book, and this one gives you a shift bank token. Keep them near you so you remember to earn them at the end of your turn. They can't be used until the next day. Lastly, you may spend work shifts or collected books to improve on the training track. If you cross the certification threshold, you will remove the lock token from the 5th design space on your board. Additionally, you may now take designs from the top of the 3 stacks in addition to those in the display. This area is the logistics department and lets you take car parts you need to upgrade your designs or to complete cars in the assembly line. There are 2 main actions here: collect car parts, and issue a Kanban order. To issue an order, place one of your Kanban order cards face up horizontally at the bottom of the factory floor. You may only take this action once. Spend 1 work shift to do the action, and then take a bank shift token to add to the shift bank track later. The card will be divided by the yellow floor line on the board. One side of the card will have 2 symbols and the other 4. Then add car parts shown on the card to the matching color space for them if the side matches. Each square on the card adds 1 cube from the supply to the board. So if you placed your card down like this, the line separates the card to 2 sides. 1 white cube will get added, but not the red, since it's not found on this side. For the opposite side, you'll add 1 black cube and 2 blue cubes since their spaces are on the same side of the factory. You won't get to add the pink cube. After adding the car part cubes to the factory floor, return the Kanban order card to the bottom of the deck and draw a new one off the top. The other main action is to collect car parts. Spend 1 work shift to take cubes off of 1 color warehouse space. You may take any number of cubes from that space. The parts you take must be placed on an empty car part space on your player board. If you run out of empty spaces for it, you can't take any more. By default, you'll have 5 free spaces to hold car part cubes. You may also spend a book token or work shift to move up the training track in the logistics department. Once you gain certification, unlock the 6th car part space on your board. Additionally, you may now choose to take 1 parts voucher per day. This becomes an extra work shift action available after you're certified. The assembly line department is where car parts get added to the different car types to roll them down the conveyors. Each cube added in the assembly spaces will add a new car on the line, pushing any cars in its path, eventually rolling cars off the line at the bottom. At the start of your turn here, remove car parts from fully filled assembly spaces of each model. Return those to the supply. To provide parts, spend a work shift to place a car part cube from your board to an empty assembly space above the car model. The car part must be a different color than one already there. You may always use recycling to exchange a part on your board for a different color available. You can also spend a parts voucher token from your board to take any color cube you need from the supply and do the action. When placing a car part, you must check if the model has been upgraded. In the testing and innovation department, look for any upgrade cubes under the car model. You must provide all the upgraded parts in assembly first before choosing a different color. The order of the upgrades added doesn't matter. After placing a part, move the top car 1 position down. Each car moved to a new spot pushes the car there down the assembly line 1 space at a time. Follow the arrows and choose a path when there's an intersection. Add a new car of that model to the top assembly space at the beginning of the line. If the top space is empty and there are no more cars of that type to add there, no one may place parts in its assembly spaces. Anytime a car reaches the end of the line, assembly on it is completed and it rolls onto the test track. Depending on which conveyor it came off of, you'll earn an immediate 1 or 2 points. The car gets added to the test track behind the white pace car. There can only be 4 cars behind the pace car. If adding a 5th car, remove the car directly behind the pace car and move the cars forward. The newest one will be the 4th car in the line. The removed car goes back to the supply and may be built again in the assembly line department. The assembly line area will have 2 demand tiles with red seats on them. Each demand tile is a different car model. If you end up pushing a car off the assembly line that matches the type on one of the 2 demand tiles, you earn a red seat token off its tile. Remember to use it to flip over one of your seats at the conference table if you can. Otherwise, Keep it on your player board. You may also spend a book token or work shift to move your disc up the training track. Once you gain certification, unlock the 5th car garage space on your board. At the end of your turn, remove any demand tiles that have no more red seats on it. Discard them and draw a new one to replace it. Add the shown number of red seat tokens on it. Then shuffle the discards back in with the other demand tiles off the board. The Testing and Innovation department contains the test track and areas to upgrade each car's design. You may spend work shifts to take one of the models behind the pace car. To claim it, you must have that model car's color design on your board. Remove the design tile and place it at the bottom of the central deck. It doesn't matter if it has an upgrade on it. Depending on the car's position behind the pace car, you'll spend a different amount of work shifts to take it. 1 shift for the car directly behind it, 2 shifts for positions 2 and 3, and 3 shifts for the 4th car behind the pace car. Move the pace car forward on the track 1 space per car you claim, and move remaining cars forward to occupy the empty space. The cars claimed should be placed in an empty garage at the top of your player board. You'll gain the benefit in the garage depending on where you place the car. The unlocked garage space shows 4 possible benefits. When you place a car there, you may choose 2 different benefits to gain. The cars cannot be removed or moved unless the garage is completely full. Only then, when gaining your 6th car, can you remove one to add the newest one. However, you won't gain the garage's benefit again. As the pace car advances on the test track, anytime it stops or passes a checkered space, a meeting will happen at the end of the day. To remember to resolve a meeting, move the large meeting cube to the end of the workstation alley. There's a blank square space for it to sit to remind you. Another action possible in this department is to upgrade a design. You must have a design tile showing a part and have collected the matching car part shown on it. Spend 1 work shift to place the car part cube on an empty square below the model on the board. You may recycle to get the right part you need before doing the action. Additionally, you may spend a parts voucher token to take the needed cube from the supply to use. The space you put the cube may earn you a benefit. Take it as soon as you place the car part. It could be points, a book, or banked shift. Now increase the upgrade value of the car part you just placed on the upgrade track. Just move the color cube on the track 1 space forward. The highest value is 6. Flip over the design tile you used and set it to the side of your board. Immediately earn the 2 points shown in the corner. You have a tested design if you have an upgraded design tile that matches a car in your garage. Tested designs score points for you at the end of the week and at the end of the game. You may also spend a book token or work shift to move your disc up the training track. Once you gain certification, you unlock the double upgrade space on your player board. Once upgraded, you may, as a one-time bonus, place the upgraded design on this space to increase the car part's value twice on the track instead of just once. Then you gain the 2 points on the back of the design tile placed, as well as the value of the space the car part landed. Each car part can only be double upgraded once in the game, so if another player has already placed the black car part design in their bonus space, no one else may do the same. They must put a different car part upgraded design there. The final department in the factory is called the Administration Department. While here, you may spend work shifts as if you were in a different department. Going to Administration is the only way to do actions in the same department 2 days in a row. You may use your shifts to train in the other department and/or take any actions available in that chosen department. You may not spend shifts in more than one other department each day. While in Administration, the only action there is training up the Administration's training track. You may train in Administration and in the other department in the same day. Books can't be used for training in other departments. You must use work shifts. Once you gain certification in Administration, you unlock your locked seat token at the conference table. It doesn't automatically flip over though. You must still spend a red seat token to flip it over. The factory manager of Kanban is Sandra. At the beginning of the game, you must choose the nice or harsh version to play with. If you choose the harsh manager, everyone starts at 15 on the point track, since she'll be penalizing points to players during the game. After the first day, Sandra will begin moving to the different departments and doing assessments against the players. From the administration area, she moves to the furthest left open workstation and the furthest left department available. She'll start moving back towards the administration, taking the furthest left open workstation each day. She must move to a different department, just like you. She moves when it comes to her turn during the department selection phase as players choose their space for the day. That always goes from left to right right down the workstation alley. She does the assessments when it comes to her turn in the working phase. The assessments will affect players based on their banked shifts and training track position. During her assessment, the nice manager assesses the player furthest up the track, but the harsh manager penalizes players lowest on the track. Stacking order is applied. Stacked players sharing the lowest position on the training track are all assessed by the harsh manager. Each department assesses the player in a relevant way to the department. The nice manager will give a reward to the player if they met the requirements for the department. The harsh manager will penalize players who haven't met the minimum. The reward from the nice manager will give the player a point for every banked shift you have on the track past 5. The penalty from the harsh manager will make players lose 1 point for each banked shift fewer than 5. In the testing and innovation department, the assessed player must have at least 2 upgraded designs out next to their board. The penalty applies for having 2 or less. After applying her reward or penalties, she advances the pace car 1 space on the test track. In the assembly line department, the assessed player must have at least 2 cars collected in their garages. The penalty applies for having 2 or less. After applying her reward or penalty, she clears the car parts from all the assembly spaces. In the logistics department, the assessed player must have at least 2 car parts collected on their player board. The penalty applies for having 2 or less. After applying her reward or penalties, she now removes all but 1 car part from each warehouse. In the design department, the assessed player must have at least 2 design blueprints on their board. This doesn't consider upgraded designs to the right of your board. The penalty applies for having 2 or less car designs. After applying her reward or penalties, she removes the 4 oldest tiles from the display. These 4 are shuffled into the central deck to the left. Then slide all the tiles down again and refill like normal. In the administration department, Sandra only occupies her designated desk space. The players she assesses here must have at least 2 certifications among all 5 training tracks. The penalty applies with having 2 or less. After applying her reward or penalties, she'll advance the week marker forward, triggering end-of-week scoring. Players can earn extra points now for tested designs. For each car in your garage, earn 2 points for each upgrade that you did to that model, and earn 1 point for each upgrade someone else made to it. Anytime the pace car stops at or passes one of the 2 checkered spaces of the test track, a meeting will happen at the end of the day. The large meeting cube should be moved to the end of the workstation alley. After all players, including Sandra, has finished their turns, proceed to conduct a meeting. Players may not use recycling during the meeting. Additionally, once a meeting starts, players may not turn in red seat tokens for seats at the table. During the meeting, players are trying to show off their accomplishments. The more seats you have at the conference table available, the more points you'll be able to score. Each player may use a seat to brag about different achievements. This is known as the old business portion of the meeting. The 4 performance goal cards on the table are the scoring methods. Also, each player will get to choose one of their 3 goal cards to be their pet project. Everyone must play a pet project, even if you yourself didn't achieve it. One of your 3 cards will be played towards the next meeting, and 1 saved in your hand. Everyone will take turns placing one of their seats on any goal card, playing their pet project goal card, or pass. You may pass after you play your pet project and come back in later in the meeting if you want. The turn order during the meeting is based on the certification track, going from right to left. When you place your pet project out, you may immediately place one of your available seats on it. Any player may also claim a pet project with their seat on their turn. Each player may claim a goal only once, but all players have the opportunity to claim each goal. After placing your seat, immediately claim whatever points you can earn. The goals show seats and a multiplier on them. The seats determine how many players may place seats on it before the manager is tired of hearing about it and no one else may claim it. The point shown in the upper left corner shows what you earn by achieving it. The multiplier on the right corner tells the number of times the first player can score it. Each person after the first may gain the point reward 1 time less than the person before. So for a goal with a 3x multiplier, the first person to place a seat there can get the reward up to 3 times. The second player to put a seat there can earn the reward up to 2 times, and the final player to go there only once. After all players have passed consecutively, move on to the new business portion of the meeting. Each player returns used seats face down to their spaces at the conference table. Any unused face-up seats stay at the table face up. Now everyone should turn up as many seats at the table as you can by turning in collected red seat tokens. Discard the 4 performance goal cards at the table and the pet projects. From the 2 performance goal cards players still have, everyone will choose and place one face down on the conference table. In games fewer than 4 players, draw from the deck to fill the empty spaces. Deal 2 more performance cards to each player so everyone has 3 again. Move the meeting cube back to the test track and advance the production cycle marker 1 space forward. The end of the week track and the production cycle track will determine when the final day of the game is. When one of these is on the 3rd space and the other is on the 2nd, the end of the game will happen after this day. For the final day, continue with any possible end of week scoring or meetings. Then move on to final scoring. Move all your face-up seats from the conference table to your player board. The final goal tile shows 3 goals players may claim. Each player may claim each one once with an available seat token. Gain points as you go on the productivity point track. Each shift banked in the shift bank track earns players 1 point each. Each seat, book, and parts voucher on your board earns 1 point each. Each car in your garage earns points based on their value printed in the test track and innovation area. Now each upgraded design you have will score points as long as you have that color car in your garage. Each design scores points equal to the car part's current value as found on the upgrade track. The number of cars doesn't matter. 1 color car is enough to score all the upgraded car part designs that you've done for it. Finally, score the final positions of players' discs on each of the training tracks. Stacking order is applied. Furthest advanced on a track earns the player 5 points. Second furthest 3 points, and third furthest 1 point. Players that didn't move on the track can't score on it. That's all for final scoring. The player with the most points wins. In the event of a tie, break ties by the following. First, by most cars, then most tested designs, then most shifts in the shift bank, then most certifications. After that, if there's still a tie, all tied players will win. Keep the rulebook handy and check BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. The Kanban rulebook includes descriptions of each performance goal card and final goal tile that you may see in your game. Check page 16 for clarifications on any that you have a question about. Check the video description for links to Top Shelf Gamer for token upgrades and SleeveKings.com for a 10% off coupon on card sleeves. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.